Indeed, even my parents have shared stories with me that symbolize the ugliness of their times. When my mother was a 12-year-old growing up in Phoenix City, Alabama, one day she was just walking to the store, walking down the street, and a car pulled up beside her with two young white boys, and they yelled, "Hey, nigger," and shot her in the side. They were probably bored, nothing to do on a lazy summer afternoon. She was rushed to the hospital where the bullet was extracted from her side, and she continues to have that scar today. That was 1957. In 1960, my father was a freshman at Alabama State University. He hadn't been incredibly politically active up to that point, but when people from Martin Luther King's Dexter Avenue Baptist Church came and asked students whether they wanted to participate in desegregating the local lunch counter, he said, sure, why not? He says he remembers being given a sign that said, it's 1960, not 1860, and he thought this was very funny. So he and 30 other students went down to the trailway station, and before they even got there, they were arrested. Now, they were young, and to them this was exciting, and he said he remembers going to jail and singing songs and generally thinking that this was big fun. When they were bailed out 11 hours later, he says he remembers going to the courtroom and having the white judge refer to them as niggers, as the defense attorney joked with the prosecuting attorney. Their guilty sentence wasn't a surprise. As a result of their activism, my father and these other students were expelled from their university and sent home. Their names were also published in the local newspapers in the small Alabama towns most of them had come from. So when my father arrived home to Beloit, Alabama, which is about 10 minutes outside of Selma, his mother, my grandmother, had a premonition that he should not stay the night in his own house. Well, she drove him to a train, put him on a train to Kansas City, Missouri, where we had one cousin, and the next evening, the very next evening, about 30 cars of Ku Klux Klanmen arrived at their house looking for my father because they had heard of his activism. Well, thankfully, no one was harmed that night, but as a result of his activism, a college freshman, the wholesalers who sold food and goods to my grandfather's store refused to sell him any more goods. As a result, his store had to be closed, and my father's entire family moved to Kansas City, Missouri, which is where I was born, all because of a young person's activism. So I share these stories with you to remind you of the choices young people made. They took important steps, and when I remember these steps, my mother just walking down the street, my father deciding purposefully to take part in changing this nation, I understand that they changed